Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Steampunk Jones here, and welcome back to part 2 of What If Naruto Was a Saiyan. Just wanted to greet you guys by just saying sit back and relax. You're in for a treat, and so we begin. After a couple of months completing low-ranking missions, the team had become rather restless, feeling that they were up to the task for something with more weight. Naruto in specific had the loudest voice regarding the matter, questioning each and every assigned low-ranking mission as if it felt like the potential was being wasted. After much protesting, the Hokage finally acquiesced and granted Team 7 a Rank C mission, destined for the Land of Waves on an escort mission. At the gates of the village, Team 7 stood. Sasuke's eyes reached out to the distance, dreaming of his vengeance, while Sakura was verifying that she had packed all she needed. Naruto stood in front of the gate, jumping in place, almost as if trying to loosen himself up, rolling his head around his shoulders to limber up. The boy's brown tail swung around as well, joining the boy in his stretch. "Finally, we can show what we are made of!" shouted the blonde, his deep blue eyes filled with determination as a giant smile formed on his face, showing slightly sharpened canines.
So you mean to tell me the circus freaks were assigned the job?"
he said with a slur in his speech, obviously inebriated even at this early a time, where the sun had barely risen. Walking forward, his steps were unstable, and the bottle of alcohol leaked from the swishing of the liquid. The three Genin's eyes immediately darted towards the older man. Sakura's nose in particular scrunched at the foul smell of the sake. Naruto's smile turned into an annoyed frown, his brows furrowing and his fists tightening. "Who are you calling a freak, you drunken idiot?" growled the boy as he stepped towards the man, only to be stopped by Kakashi, that had suddenly appeared behind him.
Now, Naruto. That's enough of that."
His hand placed on the boy's tail, which sent shivers up and down the rambunctious blonde spine. After brief introductions and another clash of ideals between the tailed boy and the drunkard bridge builder, they finally set off to the Land of Waves. A great deal of their journey was more or less uneventful, which was what was expected of a C-class mission such as this one. During their journey, Team 7 stopped to make camp as the night was soon approaching. Before the ninja could get comfortable, Kakashi quickly grouped them together.
"Just because we're on a mission doesn't mean you will stop learning,"
said the white-haired shinobi as he slipped his right hand in his pocket and with the right began to read a familiar pink book.
"You will begin training your chakra control."
The masked jonin instructed his pupils to train close to the nearby river on water walking, and walking on surfaces by concentrating their chakra. Of the three, Sakura was the quickest learner, as she had superior chakra control to the boys. The minutes turned to hours, and the two boys were still having setbacks, not being able to fully master the techniques as presented. Naruto seemed to have an endless amount of energy as he continued failing over and over again, falling into the crystalline river, though at times he was successful even if just for a split second. But during those times, it seemed his chakra would disperse and send a surge of unknown energy below him, causing the water to displace and he to fall. Sasuke, on the other hand, was growing increasingly irritable, not being able to keep his footing for more than a few seconds at a time. Eventually, he relucted and requested help from pink-haired Kunoichi, which she happily did, gushing over the brooding male much to his annoyance. Nightfall having enveloped the land, Sasuke and Sakura waved at Naruto to return to camp, but he brushed it off, deciding to continue his regimen. It now being nearly dawn, the blonde swam out to the river one final time, and laid on the ground, his legs still being moved by the river. "Damn it, why can't I get this right?" he said to himself in frustration, his raspy voice seeming saddened and reminded him of his difficult times early on in the academy. With much hard work, he had been successful in graduating, but why couldn't he do something so simple? Naruto moved his brown tail from his side and had it above him, its wet fur glistening from the moonlight. It was in a waning gibbous state, so the partially full moon lighted the forest. Why am I so different?" said the boy, reaching out to the stars, his blue eyes reflecting the cosmos it gazed upon. "Yeah, what am I doing? I'm gonna do this. No more kicking yourself, Naruto," the boy shouted as he messed up his already messy blonde spikes. Pulling himself to his feet, the tailed boy placed his hands together and closed his eyes. His chakra then began to concentrate on his feet, and his mind went blank. In his mind, he saw himself, and he pictured the actions he had to take. In the background, a muted roar echoed within him, forcing the roar to silence. The boy concentrated as his chakra solidified, taking one step. He finally succeeded. When the blonde's eyes opened, he was in the dead center of the river, and he did not sink. A dumb smile formed on his face, and he began to run, sprinting over the water and up the stream before jumping skyward, pumping his fist in the air. "All right!" he shouted with glee before leaving the training site, his stupid grin still intact. Naruto had arrived in the campsite just minutes before daybreak and had collapsed onto his sleeping bag, the bright rays of the sun not even bothering him as the others began to wake. After just an hour, Team 7 had to continue moving as they were nearing their destination.
Naruto, wake up, or you'll be left behind,
said Kakashi in a fatherly yet nonchalant tone, his belongings already packed. Wait, what? Answered the blonde, noticing that his companions were about to leave. Hey, no! Wait up! Naruto quickly got ready and packed up his things while his team had already continued on ahead. They were still weeks away from reaching their destination. During the trip, they stopped day after day, and the three Genins' training was getting more and more intense by the day. During these training sessions, it seemed that Naruto was growing leaps and bounds to what he started out when he joined the team. This caused some resentment from Sasuke, who was becoming colder from this, as he felt he was being upstaged by, as he put it, a loser. But at the same time, Sakura began to look up to the boy. After just a few days, Naruto had surpassed his teammates, and was more determined than ever to excel. On one stop, Kakashi, as he had been doing, instructed the three students to continue their training to focus on their chakra control. But before they dispersed, he stopped Naruto specifically.
Naruto, I'd like to ask you a question,
said the masked man as he tilted his body weight to right and continued.
Do you know what your chakra nature is?
He asked, his expressions not changing, knowing that this would probably baffle the boy. Honestly, I have no idea what you're talking about, Kakashi-sensei, responded the boy with embarrassment while he rubbed the back of his head. Kakashi then reached into his bag and pulled out a small piece of paper that he held above between his fingers.
A shinobi have certain affinities to the elements. These are called chakra natures, and as you can see,
spoke the masked Jonin as he concentrated his chakra on the paper, causing it to crumple up and then relax once more to its former state. This made Naruto gawk and smile at the prospect of having a new element to add to his arsenal.
Mine is lightning,
he completed before passing the paper to the blonde.
Your turn.
Naruto eagerly grabbed a hold of the paper and began to concentrate his chakra on the piece of paper, before it suddenly exploded into dozens of shredded pieces, which caused the boy's face to turn pale, believing he messed up. Kakashi's eyes widened at the sight, as this scene was nearly unheard of.
This is incredible. The paper was supposed to only slice in half, but to be destroyed like this, its wind affinity must be absurd.
The white-haired man stayed motionless, stunned from the current events. Kakashi-sensei? Asked the blonde, still worried.
Yes, Naruto?
Kakashi shook his head before continuing, his shock still dispersing.
Congratulations. It seems you have an affinity for wind,
said the man, which immediately made the tailed boy jump for joy, to the point that he even did a backflip mid-conversation, which made the Jonin shake his head, still remembering how much of a goofball his student was. This caused the young Uchiha boy in the group to glare daggers toward the blonde, his jealousy for the sudden attention causing him great discomfort. The blue-shirted boy angrily turned away to a nearby clearing to practice his fireball jutsu, as it was his ace at the time. During the journey, Kakashi had provided some instructions so Naruto could utilize his newly discovered affinity for wind in his arsenal. He had learned a low-level wind manipulation, such as the gale palm and other slight uses of wind nature, which would also assist him when it came to his movements. After a week of traveling, Kakashi had focused on teaching the blonde more and more complex jutsu with his element that he had learned throughout his shinobi career as the famous copy ninja. They dashed through the trees, Naruto keeping pace in front of everyone with his speedy, wind-imbued movements, which baffled the Jonin at how quickly he came to master the newly acquired abilities. The team dashed through the trees until suddenly they were attacked as a massive spinning shuriken spun their way towards the group. As the person in the lead position, Naruto was the first to react, catching the Demon Wind Shuriken midair and using the momentum from the spinning steel, spun his body and threw it back from where it came, cutting down a tree below them. Team 7 dropped from amongst the leaves, Kakashi placing the bridge builder down to be protected by Sasuke and Sakura. Then, two Chunin-level ninja finally revealed themselves, one seemingly shaking as the shuriken had hit right by him and nearly cutting him in half. "You losers are gonna have to try better than that if you think you can take me out!" shouted Naruto as he cracked his knuckles and began performing hand signs, then shouted before inhaling deeply, "Wind release! Violent whirlwind!" With a powerful exhale, a massive tunnel of air blasted from the young boy's mouth, which sent one of the two ninjas spinning against a large tree, while the other attempted to dodge. With a cocky smirk, he locked on the enemy ninja and continued, "Now where do you think you're going?" Weaving more hand seals, the boy seemed to vanish, then appearing behind the attacking shinobi, "Whirlwind drop!" Swiping his hands in opposite directions, a great whirlwind suddenly captured the enemy, sending him skywards and spinning like a top. Kakashi's visible eye widened at the sight, not expecting the sudden power from the novice ninja.
"This kid's unreal,"
he mumbled, while behind him, Sakura gazed in amazement at Naruto's actions. Maybe she had misjudged him. While all of this was happening, Sasuke grit his teeth, furious at the realization that Naruto had surpassed him. The only reason he was on the team was to gain the strength to kill his brother, but this freak had already passed him by. "Go, Naruto!" shouted the pink-haired girl, rooting on her comrade. But then she noticed something was wrong. Another kunai was suddenly flying towards the blonde, and there was no time to react, it seemed. "Naruto, look out!" she shouted as the kunai seemed to meet its target with a sound similar to slicing flesh, echoed in the clearing. Amongst the group, the silver-haired Jonin was nowhere to be seen, having the believed defeated Chunin from before in his grip. While Naruto sat on the floor with his arm bleeding profusely, "Oh man," said the blonde as he placed his hand on his now sliced-open arm. The spinning ninja then came crashing down into a bush, completely unconscious. "You idiot, you need to be more careful," shouted the cherry blossom-haired girl, as she was genuinely worried. The tailed boy then stood holding his bleeding arm and tried returning towards the group. "Hey, I'm fine. Don't worry about it," said the boy as his complexion began to whiten, his vision becoming blurry, and his steps unsteady. "It's just a flesh wound." Weak words escaped his mouth as he whited out and collapsed face first. Quickly, Sakura rushed to Naruto's side and began tending the wound, unaware of the severity of the situation. From the ground, one of the beaten enemy shinobi began to chuckle, his body shaking lightly from the action. Kakashi promptly got a hold of him by the collar, bringing him to his feet.
"What did you do?"
said Kakashi in a cold tone, his eyes locking with the bloody foe, showing a semblance of anger.
"Isn't it obvious? He's been poisoned,"
the man shouted at Kakashi whilst continuing his uncontrolled laughter. Kakashi, in response, chopped the male on the neck, knocking him out. Altogether, his mind began to go through the situation. The village identifiers in the Chunin's headbands and attire, attempting to find a solution. As the pink-eared Kunoichi mended the wound on Naruto's arm and noticed that the blonde was sweating heavily, being attacked by the venom that was now infiltrating his bloodstream. "Kakashi-sensei, what am I supposed to do?" The female began to shake, this moment of action taking a heavy toll on her nerves. Without responding, the silver-haired man began rummaging through the foe's belongings until finding a small jar filled with herbs that he quickly recognized. Upon grabbing the jar, he quickly ran back to the main group and went to work to grind the herb into a paste before placing it in a tea kettle that the bridge builder had amongst his belongings. After just a few moments of heating the herbal tea, he poured it into a small stone bowl and passed it to Sakura.
"Make sure he drinks it quickly, or it'll be too late,"
spoke the male, his tone sounding grim, which caused Sakura's anxiety to spike even more so. Gulping down audibly, she grabbed a small bowl, and with her shaking hands began to pour it down Naruto's mouth and down his throat. He twitched slightly in reaction to the hot liquid being introduced into his system, but other than that, he gave little response.
"What now?"
asked Sasuke, his hands placed in his pockets, and his view never straying from the two shinobi that laid unconscious.
"We must wait at least till the dawn. If he doesn't wake up by then..."
The man looked down, interrupting his own words, going into silence and flashing back to his comrades he lost in the past.
That loser is too stubborn to die,
responded the Uchiha boy as he grinded his teeth slightly, still not turning to face his comrades. After starting a campsite while their companion rested, the two Chunin were tied up to the trees and interrogated by the Jonin. This brought to light the true situation happening in the land of waves. After much thought and conversation with the bridge builder, the team together decided to move forward with the mission, but only with the caveat that it would be with full disclosure from Tazuna. As the sun set and rose once more, Kakashi and the rest of Team 7 left their tents and were surprised with what they saw. After a traumatic event that saw his life nearly ended, Naruto was up training against his clones in rapid succession, seeming revitalized from the day prior. "Naruto, you're okay!" shouted the pink-haired girl happily as her worries had subsided seeing his activity, but her anger suddenly bubbled to the surface. "You idiot! You nearly died! You should be resting!" she said, lifting her fist to attempt to strike the boy, but was stopped by Kakashi, who held her by her collar.
Now, no need to nearly kill him again,
spoke Kakashi, his tone back to its normal bored monotone. Internally, he was breathing a sigh of relief that another's blood was not added to his ledger. Naruto jumped from all the commotion and began to smile awkwardly as he rubbed the back of his head. "Sorry about that, guys," he said to Uzumaki boy sheepishly. All the while, Sasuke smirked and began to pack up, deciding to not interact with the group. Team 7 and their escort then continued on their way towards the land of waves. Though behind them, the two enemy shinobi screamed as they were left behind, bound in that area. They continued on their path until breaching the borders of the land, though upon reaching a seemingly foggy area, the hairs on Naruto's tail began to stand on end, his senses going wild. "Sakura, look out!" shouted the blonde as a giant spinning blade seemed to be targeted at the pink-haired girl. Reacting instantly, the tailed boy jumped into action and was able to catch the blade by its handle, using its own momentum to divert its direction and striking the ground in front of the group. He moved so quickly that the only one in the group that caught his movements was Kakashi.
"Impressive child,"
said a man with a gruff and frightening voice, emerging from the shadows with a strange mask hiding his identity. He then, with a quick acrobatic move, kicked the handle of the blade from Naruto's palm, which caused it to go airborne. The enemy shinobi caught the blade midair, and with a midair spin, held the blade, resting it at his shoulder, now several feet away from Team 7.
"Now, I think you have something of mine,"
exclaimed the male, his gaze directed at the bridge builder, who was his main target, though his intentions soon became clear. Sakura shakingly lifted her kunai, while the other two boys seemed to get excited. "You're gonna have to get through me!" shouted Naruto, while Sasuke groaned slightly, catching the blonde's attention. I mean us!" Kakashi then covered his face with his palm at the strange situation and sighing from it. Tazuna then began to sweat and attempted to hide his body behind the pink-haired girl, knowing this man had come for his life. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in the story thus far. Hope you enjoyed it. Now, there are a few more things I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, we got a primary channel called We the Celestials. We the Celestials is what we do here already, but their content is centered around the crazy world and lore of My Hero Academia. So please, check us out over there if you're feeling in the mood for a roller coaster of quirky content. We also have another relative to our channel, Anime Deep Dive. Anime Deep Dive goes deep into the facts and lore of a wide variety of anime. It's sure to expand your weeb knowledge for all kinds of series, guaranteed. I'd like to let you all know, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. If you're perhaps interested in what we do here at WTC, then I would like to extend out an invitation to join the team. The only caveat being we only accept members 16 and older to join our crew. You can find us on our Discord, which you can locate in the description below. Our Discord is an all-around fantastic place to be, whether you're a fan or looking to join our band of misfits. All you gotta do is hit up the recruitment server and sign up for whichever category of work that fulfills your interests. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video. So thank you all for watching, and have a great day.